Alright, so today we're going to do the back page of the 8-1 notes. And then you are going to finish your 8-1 practice. You have a quiz tomorrow over all of 8-1. So the translations from yesterday plus the graphing from today.
Okay, that's good. Good.
All we always
Okay.
gotta do set build
I hate that too. I thought that was like gonna be gone after that 6
No.
weeks.
Can we
but
use
you
a
just kept
calculator
it.
on these?
You'll see. Alright. First of all, I do want you to know how to graph these without a calculator. We're not going to use the table though, so you can cross the table out.
Less stress.
Alright. I need to figure out on all of them. I need to figure out the vertex. The vertex is coming from these two numbers. The number on the inside with the X and the number on the outside. What do you have to remember to do to the number on the inside? Huh? It's going to switch signs, so it's going to turn positive.
It's only the ones under the root that turn positive.
It just switches signs. So if it's negative, it'll turn positive. If it's positive, it turns negative. Yep.
I have to go.
So what?
Okay.
Where are you going?
How did -1 stay -1?
Stupid
Because it's not underneath the root.
back
Oh,
forth.
okay.
Tell her something.
I'm just going back forth.
And who is it?
Probably.
All right, so
A cat.
let's let me explain this again. The vertex is coming from these two numbers right here. The one on the inside changes sign. So since it's a -2, it's going to switch to a +2. The guy on the outside stays the same. So your vertex is at -1.
The guy on the inside changes, and the guy on the outside stays the same, right?
Right. Now, your A value, that's the number in the very, very front. So what is my A value?
It's 1/2, -1/2.
-1/2. Remember that A value is only going to tell you where that next point is. It's not slope. You can't just keep going. It tells you where the next point is. So from your vertex, we're going to go down 1 because it's negative and over 2.
Over to the right.
Yep. Always start by going to the right. All right, so I have my arrow there. Now, this is a square root. So do I need the other half of the arrow? No. The square root is only the right side.
Which one's both of them?
Cube root.
Okay.
We're going to do one like that. Okay, for the domain. Domain are the X values. So how far left is my graph going? 2. Is it a bracket or a parentheses? Bracket. Which makes sense because what is the X value in the vertex? 2. So the X value in the vertex should show up in the domain. How far right does my graph go? Infinity. It's going right forever. This is the arrow.
How is it going? Left twice.
No, it goes left to 2. The number 2, because your graph stops. Okay, now range is down and then up. So how far down does my graph go?
Infinity.
Very good. So going down to negative infinity. And then how far up does it go? -1. Ooh, that was a weird one. Sorry. Which makes sense because -1 also in your vertex. So your y value in your vertex shows up in your range. Your x value in your vertex shows up in your domain. Not always in those exact spots, but it will show up. Okay, set builder. So in case you don't remember, it's the little squiggly bracket, x bar x, and then range y bar y. All right, now on the looking at the x-axis, the left and right, where does your graph stop? And what number? It goes left all the way to what number? 2. Whoa. 2. And so are you using the values bigger than 2 or less than 2? Bigger, so it's going to be greater than or equal to. Now on the y-axis, where does your graph stop? -1. And are you using the values bigger than -1 or less than -1? Less than, because it goes down. So less than or equal to. All right, so that part you need to know how to do without a calculator. You need to know how to graph without a calculator for the test. The max and min part, though, I will let you use a calculator for the max and min. So it's been a long time since we've done it, so let's review. You type it in just like you see it. -1/2 square root x minus 2. All right, everybody look up here. Look up here. If you're typing it in, just take a break. Look up here. Do you see how my cursor is underneath the square root? Okay. Do you see how my -1 is not underneath the square root? So if you just keep typing -1, it's going to be incorrect because your -1 is under the root, and that is not the graph you're trying to graph. So what you have to do is you have to press this arrow over here to get your cursor on the outside of the root, and so your little bar stops. Does that make sense? Okay. So you graph it. You should get something that looks like your graph. For max and min, menu, analyze your graph. And we're going to have to do both. We're going to have to do both max and min. So I'm going to click max first. And then here's where you also mess up. So everybody look up here. Look up here. Look up here. When you get this dotted line, do not do anything with the dotted line. You're not going to highlight your graph because I give you a specific interval that you have to type in. So you have to tell your calculator, I'm going to start at 3, hit enter, and I'm going to end at 6, hit enter. And then your point will pop up. Now, max and min is how low and high, right? Yeah. What affects low and high? Is it the x value or the y value? The y tells you how high and how low, so which one of these is going to be my answer? The y, because the y is telling me how low I go and how high I go. So if I want to know what's the maximum point, the highest point, I'm going to use the y value, which is -1.5. And then you're going to do the same exact thing for min. Menu, analyze your graph, minimum, type your interval again, 3, enter, 6, enter. Same thing, the y value is what you need, so -2. All right, any questions so far on that one?
There's the front. The same thing.
No, I'll teach you the front here in a second. All right, go to, let's do 7 next. All right. Once again, not using the table, so ignore that. For your vertex, what is the number inside with the x?
-3.
Okay, and then what do you have to do to that? Flip it, so it's going to be a 3. What is number on the outside?
0.
0. So your vertex is at 3, 0. What's my a value?
2.
2. All right, so I'm going to plot 3, 0. And my a value is a positive 2. So from my vertex, I'm going to go up 2, over 1, draw my arrow. Do I need the arrow on the other part?
Yes.
Why?
It's a cube.
Very good. Because it is a cube root, you have to go the other way, down 2, over 1, and draw the other curvy part. Make sure you draw it as a curve, not a straight line, because we know it's a cube root. All right, for all cube root functions, what is the domain?
Infinity.
The infinities, negative infinity to infinity. What is the range for all cube root functions? Negative infinity to infinity. If you have an S-shaped function, your domain and your range are the exact same thing every time, no matter where you translate it. Negative infinity to infinity. For set builder, do y'all remember how to write it?
Yeah, all real numbers.
All real numbers. And then for the range, same thing. All real numbers. To do max and min, I'm going to type into my calculator. The cube root guy is this guy right here. We're going to yellow button that guy. So yellow button this guy. Put the 3 there, and then I got x minus 3. Nothing on the outside. So it should look something like my graph, and it does. Then for max and min, menu, analyze your graph. I will do maximum first. And then type in your interval. My interval here is -5, enter, 5, enter. And so my maximum is at 2.52.
Wait, where you get -5 from?
It tells you the interval right here.
Oh.
So for min, menu, analyze your graph, minimum, and then actually type your interval in, -5, enter, 5, enter. And so your minimum's at -4. All right, go to number 8. All right, Jeremy, where's my vertex at? Very good. -4, -3, and Jake, what's my A value? So it's understood to be a
1.
yes. Very good. We're not using the table again. All right, so vertex is a -4, -3, and my A value is a +1. So I'm going to go up 1 over 1. And that is the only point you can graph. Draw your arrow. Do you need the other part of it, Sarah? Why not?
Because we don't have 13.
Right. It's not a cube, so we just have the arrow to the right. So good, we're going to stop there. I like doing interval notation first. So for the domain, Julian, how far left do I go? -4, very good. And how far right do I go, Fernanda? Infinity. All right, Daisy, how far down?
-3.
Very good. And Jimena, how far up? Very good. Okay, for a set builder, for the domain, I'm going to have X in the bar, X. For the range, Y, bar, Y. All right, Bonnie, on the x-axis, where am I stopping? Where does my graph stop?
-4.
-4. And are you using the values greater than -4 or less than? Greater than. Okay, and then Edwin, on my y-axis, where am I stopping? -3, good. And are we using the values bigger than -3 or smaller? Yeah, first one. Yep. Because you're going above.
Is it going to be the same as the arrow all the time?
No. No, the arrow won't match up on these. All right. For the max and min, we got to graph it. So I'm going to do square root x plus 4 minus 3. Hit enter. Looks like my graph. Menu.
-2.
It's, you got it. Oh, -2, enter, 5, enter. So my maximum is at 0.
4. Or 5. 5.
What's 5? The other one? You take the y value.
Yeah, that's
All right, and then we're going to do the minimum. -2, enter, 5, enter. And so then your min is at -1.59. Keep it like that. All right, do y'all want me to do number 9?
yes, please.
Okay. Okay, so on number 9, the vertex. Does anybody know it?
1 and 3.
0, 3.
0, 3, yeah, 0, 3.
But I thought the X is on this side.
The understood number with the x is like, it's like x plus 0.
The slope is -1.
Uh,
Yeah. Look at me.
All right, so my vertex is at 0, 3. And my a value is -1. So from my vertex, I'm going to go down 1, over 1, draw the arrow. Do you
I know
need...
which way to go over.
Always go to the right.
Always.
Always go to the right.
don't be interrupted.
If it's negative, go down. If it's positive, go up. But always go to the right.
Thank you.
We're not using the graph.
Okay.
For the first point.
Does other people have that question too?
Mhm.
No. You just-
Okay, do I need the other part of the arrow?
Yes.
Yes, so I am going to put the other dot here, up 1, over 1, and I'm going to draw the other arrow.
One second.
Because the little 3 is there.
Yep. All right, what are the what's the domain and range for all these cube root functions?
They're all
Negative infinity to
real.
infinity.
They're all
Yes.
real.
All real numbers are negative infinity to infinity, so
They never switch up.
negative infinity to infinity. And then we're going to do set builder here. X is in the real numbers, Y is in the real numbers. All right, let's do max and min real fast. If you feel confident and want to do it yourself, go ahead. X.
Maximum.
Make sure you put the +3 on the outside of your bar. Menu, analyze,
-1 for
maximum, and then yes, literally type in -1, enter, 4, enter. So, Y value there, that's my maximum,
4.
4. And do the same thing for min, actually type in your interval, -1, enter, 4, enter. And so 1.41 is your min.
1.41.
We're not gonna have a test review.
Probably not, you'll just do your practices.
Are you gonna tell us how many questions which one? Like you
I
did
can.
last time?
Mhm. All right, let's do this F part here real fast, and then we'll be done. Now, this part down here is non-calculator. Because otherwise you could just type it in. That'd be way too easy.
That's the point.
Yeah. Non-calculator. All right, if I am asking you what is f of 6, what am I asking you to find? Like, what am I asking you to do? Plug in 6 where? For the x. Very good. So we're going to plug in 6 here.
How much money you got?
All right, what is 6 plus 3?
9.
Very good.
I'm not ready.
What is the square root of 9?
3.
All right, notice when I take the square root of 9, I just put 3. It is not in a root anymore because the square root of 9 is 3. Okay, what's 7 times 3? What's 21 plus 2? That's your answer.
That's easy.
Yeah.
That's the perfect laugh.
No, I said that. That's what manager said. Like, happy Chinese New Year, like I'm Chinese or something.
That's crazy.
All right, let's do 12. What am I plugging in for x? 21. Very good. So, -3, 21 minus 5,
Let him talk.
plus 12. What is 21 minus 5?
17.
Close. 16. All right, what is the square root of 16? Uh-huh. What is -3 times 4?
-12.
And -12 plus 12? 0. All right, that's the answer. The last two are going to be cube roots. So the cube roots that you are going to need to know are going to be 1 through 5. So for the square roots, like 1 through 12, right? You pretty much know, maybe 13. You know what I'm saying? 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, like all the perfect squares.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. For the perfect cubes, these are the ones that you are going to need to know. So if you want to take a picture of it, take a picture of it.
I'm gonna take a picture of it, but I don't have my phone charged.
Well, I can write them down for you another time. 1 cubed is 1, 2 cubed is 8, 3 cubed is 27, 4 cubed is 64, 5 cubed is 125. So you only have to know the cubes up to 5, right? Not that hard. I feel like they're pretty self-explanatory. You can at least guess what the cube root of 64 would be, or 125 if you weren't 100% sure.
Isn't there
I
like,
think I used to do
That I
that.
finally get the key, like the root.
Yeah. Because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, 4 times 4 times 4 is 64, 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So that's where those numbers are coming from. Yeah. Almost done. Hold on. All right, so let's do these last two problems here. What number am I plugging in for x on number 11?
-4.
-4, very good. So 1/2 cube root -4 minus 60, and then minus 3. So what is -4 minus 60? -64. Okay, and the cube root of -64 is
8. 4.
close. -4.
And Miss, why you put the -3 like all the way to the outside?
Because it's not inside the root.
Alright.
So I just don't want to get confused. Alright, so cube root of -64 is -4. So remember, with the cube roots, the signs are going to match up. You cannot take square roots of negatives, but cube roots, the signs will match. What is 1/2 times -4?
-2.
-2. And -2 minus 3? Very good. Alright, one more. One more. What am I plugging in for x?
-9.
-9. So I have the cube root, -9 plus 1 minus 4. What's -9 plus 1? -8 minus 4. What is the cube root of -8? Close? -2? What is -2 minus 4?
-6.
Very good.